Hey guys, welcome to this this video. Kind of wanted to do a GPSL wrap-up, I guess, for lack of a better term. But basically, I just want to talk about how the season went and just talk. That's all I really want to do. I want to go over each individual member and talk about the good things they did, the bad things they did, whether or not I enjoyed having them on my team, whether or not I'd use them again if I ever got the opportunity, and things like that. So, what better way to start with our first round pick with our Latios. Latios was brought to about half of the battles we had. We had 8 battles overall, and I want to say it was brought to around 5 of them. I don't have the stats written down or anything. Unfortunately, Latios always got kind of shoved into an offensive role just because of all the coverage it got. Which is why you guys saw in my team analysis video I did before the GPSL even started. I really wanted Latios, and I was forced to play with Latios the way I would have used Latios. I was always afraid to run Latios as a wall just because everything in the game gets knockoff, and that's no fun to use. Or that's no fun to deal with. But, you know, Latios is... I enjoyed it. If it were up to me, it would have been Latios, though. I don't like my best special wall in the... Arguably my best special wall. Being weak to knockoff, that's just not a good time for me. But Latios definitely did some good things for us, like the Choice Scarf set we ran against Sacred Thunder. And who could forget the MVP Healing Wish play against Nuflus. And overall, I feel like Latios is pretty solid. Would I pick it again? Probably not. If it were up to me, I would pick Latios again. Absolutely, I would pick Latios. Absolutely. I just feel like the Dragon Psychic type with all these different coverage moves is just so much better as an offensive Pokemon. So we'll move on to our second round pick next. In Clefable, I didn't bring it week 1 against Nuflus, and then I'm pretty sure I brought it every single week after that. The first week I brought it, I realized this thing is a huge crutch for me. The Unaware set was absolutely amazing. I unfortunately never got the chance to use the very popular Magic Guard Calm Mind set, which I would have loved to use, but Unaware was just so useful to me. Clefable made a really good support Pokemon. It was, I don't think it ever got a Healing Wish off, but it got plenty of Heal Bells off in the season. It didn't kill very much. It was really just a good wall, and honestly, I'm very happy we had Clefable this season. Would I pick it again? Absolutely. The Unaware is just way too valuable, and it's one of the best fairies in the game for a reason. It was pretty clutch, and it sucks it died so early in our championship battle against the Resilient. I think what I really messed up with that battle was I didn't research Drudigon enough. That Drudigon set blew me back. I didn't even know it got Gunk Shot, so that's a huge part of why Clefable didn't have as big of a role as it did in the final battle. But nonetheless, it had a great run during the season. I want to say we brought it to every single week other than week 1. So yeah, that was our Clefable. Of course, this is eventually going to happen. We'll talk about my third round pick, which was Mega Lopunny. Now, Mega Lopunny was absolutely the star of my show. It had the most kills on the team by far. It was my broomstick. It was the sweeper, and it sucks so hard that I didn't get to bring it to the final match. There was just so much that dealt with it on his team, but at the same time, there was a lot that Mega Lopunny also dealt with it on his team. It was a really hard decision to not bring Mega Lopunny to the last battle, but other than the last battle, it did come to every week, and it put in the work every week, except the week we lost against Resilient, and my Troll Fake Out Last Resort set against Grant's Ditto. Other than that, I think those are the only 2 times it died all season. It was a really clutch clean-up Pokemon, and I was very happy it was on my team. Would I pick Mega Lopunny again? 100% yes. This thing is such a good Pokemon. It's honestly become one of my favorite Mega Pokemon. I used to kind of like, it's overrated, it's not very fun to use, it's pretty simple. But this thing is just, it's very clutch. If you guys did not know, I would honestly say that this is probably my second favorite Mega, only to Mega Pidgeot. Mega Pidgeot's my favorite Mega. Not so much anymore, but back in the good old days when Mega Pidgeot was an RU, Mega Pidgeot was my favorite thing to use ever. Now that it's OU, I don't think it deserves to be OU. It's more, I think it's a UU mon. But we're not here to talk about Mega Pidgeot. Mega Lopunny, unresisted dual stab is just so great in the league format. Teams had to prepare very much so a lot for this Mega Lopunny. And I'm so glad I was on our team because I didn't want to ever have to prepare for that. So, we'll talk about our other OU pick first, which was our last round pick, which was Skarmory. Now, Skarmory was a pretty good Pokemon, honestly. It's a very good wall. I liked the roost set. I liked having defog on it and the ability to set up rocks. The ability to get up rocks and get rid of rocks is pretty unique to only it. I want to say the only other Pokemon I can think of off the top of my head that can do that would be Forretress and Excadrill are the only Pokemon I can think of off the top of my head. Sandslash, Claydol, but they're not as viable. But there's very few Pokemon that can set up rocks and get rid of them, which is pretty awesome as well. Honestly, in the back of my head all season, I really wanted to use a Choice Banded Skarmory set, but the opportunity never arose. I would have loved to use Skarmory in a role that just wasn't defensive, which it got stuck in the defensive role every single week, and honestly, I think that was my fault drafting. Would I take Skarmory again? Maybe. It's such a simple Pokemon. I used it in the best way I could, and the best way it is just defensive all the time. I mean, it makes people think about my team. It makes people realize, okay, I need to bring fire coverage or electric coverage because Skarmory is going to wall my team if I don't. So I had that going for me, which was nice. But honestly, Skarmory was a pretty key member of our team. Excalibur, I should mention their nicknames. We have the red one, Latios, Pinky, Clefable, Vanilla, Mega Lopunny, and Excalibur, Skarmory. So yeah, honestly, it did great things. We'll move on to our UU picks now. We have Arcanine, our first UU pick, our 4th pick overall. Arcanine, at the beginning of the season, I felt like Arcanine, I regretted picking Arcanine. I had the choice to pick, I had the opportunity to pick Entei. I really did, and honestly, that's what irritated me, because Entei, if you guys did not know, ended up with the most kills in the GPSL. Mega Lopunny, I want to say, came in second, only to Entei. So, I got honestly upset that I was like, wow, I could be running this Entei. I could have Entei instead of Arcanine. But as it got further into the season, I realized that Arcanine is very good. And I think what really sealed the deal for me was its clutch-ish moment up against our championship battle against Resilient. That set we ran was probably one of the most unconventional sets I've ever come up with. And it was working for the most part. It was doing the best it could. Arcanine is one of the best Pokemon in the format. I totally regret ever doubting it. Intimidate is great for defensive, Justified is great for a surprise factor, and Flash Fire is great for a fire immunity. We used Flash Fire once this season. I want to say Intimidate every other battle. But it has access to the best priority in the game, Extreme Speed, Reliable Recovery, Morning Sun, Will-O-Wisp, and Toxic, and Roar, and Sleep Talk, and Rest, and I don't know why I would run Rest with Morning Sun. And then Close Combat and Crunch for coverage. Honestly, Arcanine can just do so much. It doesn't look like it right here, but it really does a lot. I mean, we even tried the special Arcanine set against Resilient in our championship battle, and that was working for the most part. So, would I draft Arcanine again? Absolutely. Arcanine is a very good Pokemon in this format. So, moving on, we'll go to Milotic, and I will be honest, there was a point in the season where I was about ready to drop Milotic not because Milotic was a bad Pokemon, because there was a gaping hole on my team that I needed something for, and that was, I needed a Rapid Spinner. I regret picking my only 2 hazard removals as defoggers being Latios and Skarmory. So there was a point in the season where I actually considered dropping Milotic in favor of picking up Tentacruel. It was supposed to take place after week 6, after our first battle against Resilient, because the rule of the league was we were only allowed to make 1 free agency drop, and I really needed Steelix for that battle up against Resilient with what I had in mind with the AV set, so we dropped a muck. So this thing was next to go, but I realized I can't do it. Marvel Scale and Competitive are just too good of abilities to give up this Milotic. I mean, the only thing that was unfortunate about Milotic, and I said this at the beginning of the season, it's not the greatest offensive mon in the world in terms of versatility. I'm pretty much limited to Water Stab, Ice Beam, and Hidden Power in terms of offensive power. But Milotic is one of the most threatening walls in the game. You have to prepare for this thing, otherwise it's going to sit there forever like it did against Urkaperka and his Metagross. So would I draft... At the end of the day, would I draft Milotic again? Yes. However, I would like to try some other bulky water types. Want to give some other Pokemon some time in the light. I would consider, honestly, drafting Tentacruel. I really like that Pokemon, and it's a rapid spitter. But Milotic absolutely is one of the best UU water types. If you're looking to draft it, draft it. It's really good. I love it. So moving on to my favorite Pokemon. Not my favorite Pokemon from this set. I would still have to say it's Megalopunny. But my favorite Pokemon overall is Crocodile. If you guys did not know. The retaliation snipe for taking my Latios at Resilient. Crocodile was absolutely a pretty important member on the team because it was like my super glue. Like if there was ever a hole on the team, I could just stick Crocodile on it and patch it up a little bit. Crocodile was defensive when it needed to be, offensive when it needed to be. We ran that Assault Vest set against Nuflus, for example. We were supposed to be running a Scarf Moxie set against RPG before that battle got canceled. I really wish we could have brought this thing to the final battle, but it just didn't do much against Resilient. If you're looking to draft Crocodile, absolutely get it. It's, in my opinion, one of the best Pokemon in the Leaf format. Intimidate and Moxie has two different abilities. It can go offensive or defensive. Access to Stealth Rock. What more can you ask for? Highlight of... You know what? I kind of want to go back. Highlight of everybody's season. The highlight of Latios' season, absolutely Healing Wish week 1. Highlight of Clefables. I don't think I could really pick one moment. But maybe it would just be all those clutch heal bells, honestly. Mega Lopunny, clutch moment. Probably highlight moment of the season would have to be week 1 against Nuflus after receiving that Healing Wish and sweeping up the game. Skarmory's, I love the first Rocky Helmet set we ran against Grant. I don't think you expect that at all. That would absolutely be Skarmory's highlight moment. Arcanine, it's gotta be that it was the last man standing in our championship battle. That was pretty great. I loved that Arcanine set, and that Arcanine did a lot for me. Milotic, how about the 2 times it almost got off successful Miracles? No, I'm just kidding. Highlight of Milotic season, that one's easy. The Hax War we had against Urkaperka, 100%, that was it. And the highlight of Crocodile season, honestly, I would have to say that week 1 Assault Vest set we ran. All it ever went for, I'm pretty sure, was Aqua Tail, but it made Nuflus think about stuff. And that was so important for this. I love the Crocodile set we ran all season. I wish we could have gotten to use it more because it's a really good Pokemon. But at the end of the day, I'm very happy it was on our team. So, up next, we'll talk about Cofagrigus. Now, Cofagrigus was brought to, I want to say 4 out of our 8 matches. Our first match, and then our last 3. There's that giant chunk in the middle where it didn't come at all. And absolute highlight of the season. It's a toss-up. I would have to say the defensive Mummy set we ran against Grant's Mega Altaria was pretty great. But at the same time, Specs that we ran against Resilient in the championship battle was also pretty great. If I had to pick one, I would probably say the Specs set. It was just, it caught Resilient off guard, and I was very surprised. Cofagrigus 100%, not the greatest draftable mon in the world. But I originally, and I said this in my battle, or in my analysis video at the start of the season, of course, Cofagrigus was 100% the most important member of my team. Because it was on my team, and not somebody else's team. Cofagrigus is the best check in the game, in my opinion, to Mega Lopunny. Grant recognized that, which is why he brought Ditto the first match. He was trying to get it so that he could beat my Cofagrigus and then wall my Mega Lopunny. But I already knew he was going to be doing that, so that's why I ran the Troll Mega Lopunny set that couldn't hit the Cofagrigus very well anyways. So, yes, I would have to say the Spec set. If you're looking to draft Cofagrigus, there are 100% better ghost types in the world, but Cofagrigus is not bad at all. It's really good for changing abilities. Like if there's like a huge power Pokemon, like you're facing like an Azumarill, you can EV to tank a hit and change Exploded to Mummy, then it's forced to switch out because it's not doing very much damage once its huge power is gone. So yeah, I would say Cofagrigus was a pretty great mod of the team. Not the best at all, but it was a pretty clutch member when it needed to be. So, up next, I believe, would be Ambipom. Now, Ambipom was again a Pokemon I wish we could have used more. The idea was there, it's just the execution was poor, in my opinion, with this Ambipom set. I believe it only came to 2 of our battles, and it didn't do much in either. Ambipom gets a lot of different moves, and that's why I really picked it. I originally picked it to be the super glue on my team. As I said, Rookodile ended up being. This originally was, I don't have enough for the Pokemon I'm facing, I'm just going to throw a bunch of moves on Ambipom so it can deal with it. Highlight of the season, though, unfortunately never got executed. Absolutely was the idea behind the double hit Ambipom Choice Scarf we ran against Urka for his Dugtrio. I really wish you would have brought Dugtrio. I wanted to use this Ambipom on it so bad, you have no idea. But nonetheless, we never got to use it, and Ambipom kind of took a back seat on the team a little bit, but that doesn't mean it was not a valuable member of the team. It's just the opportunity never arose. I blame the other coaches. They drafted too good for me to just slap Ambipom on every team. So, if you're looking to draft Ambipom, draft it, 100%. It's a pretty solid pickup from RU, or from lower tiers, because it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it'll get the job done. So, we'll move on to our last RU Mon. Toro, of course, our Rotom. Rotom, though. Okay, that's Rotom. Rotom. Highlight match against Rotom. I would say Urka. Once again, that AV set we ran that take the hit from Tornadus and then O-code it with Thunderbolt, that was very satisfying. That was Rotom's, I'm pretty sure, debut battle, and I realized then, I was like, I should be using Rotom a lot more. Rotom, you know, it's really simple. It's a Rotom. Rotoms are simple. Rotom Wash is one of the best walls in OU because it's so simple. It's hard to deal with. It's only weak to one thing. Rotom Mo, weak to 4 things, however. A lot easier to deal with, which is why it's not the best thing in the world. But Electric Grass Stab was such an important thing on my team. I'm very happy we used Rotom. Would I suggest drafting Rotom again? Yes. If it were up to me, it would be Rotom Wash, though. Or Rotom Heat over this, 100%. That's why they're higher tier. They're better Pokemon in just terms of their typing. But that doesn't mean Rotom Mo is bad. It's a really good check to electric types and ground types. And that's all I could really ask for in a Mon. Being Wally is what it did best. So we'll move on to the late joiner. We'll talk about Steelix. Only brought to 1 battle. But it did a pretty good job when that 1 battle it was brought. I was just a dumbass against the Malamar. The AV set worked, so I would have to say that is the highlight of the season, of course, because it was its only light at all. The AV set was pretty great. It dealt with resilience. It would have been a Sylveon, is what it's called. It dealt with it pretty well, and I was pretty happy with the Steelix set we brought. Would I suggest drafting Steelix for your team? Absolutely. It's a really good use of Stealth Rocker. There's better things in the game, better Steel types in the game, so Steelix is one of those, oh shit, I forgot to draft a Steel type Pokemon pickups, but it was really good nonetheless. I'm very happy we got it mid-season. And yeah, I like Solid Snake, he was pretty great. So we'll move on to the next pick, which was Regirock. Our last pick, other than Skarmory, of course. Now, Regirock, highlight of the season, 100% the set we ran against Sacred Thunder and his Mega Charizard X, which I think was the only match it was brought to other than the RPG match. Which the set we were running, very ambitious, but it could have made it a contender for highlight of the season, 100%. But the set we ran against Sacred Thunder worked so well. Regirock was, I doubted it at first, but I now looking back on it, Regirock was a very important member of the team. It's so defensive, and 100 base attack is not anything to laugh at. Access to great moves, access to Stealth Rock. At the end of the day, Regirock just did so much for my team. I wish we could have used it more. So that's going to be it for the team analysis. I'm just kidding. Okay, we'll talk about Muck. Now, no, Muck is not a bad Pokemon in the draft format. Yes, Muck was a bad Pokemon for my team. That was not my fault. And that's not the other coach's fault either, but the other coaches, just the way they drafted, there was nothing that Muck really dealt with. I mean, it was good for Florges and Sylveon, but both of those things are in Psyshock, and it was just really easy to deal with the Muck. At the end of the day, I'm glad we traded Muck for Steelix, but if it were up to me, would I draft Muck again? Absolutely. I think it's one of the best NU picks. It gets priority in Shadow Sneak, which is great. A lot of great different moves. The elemental punches, stab, poison moves. It can even explode and disable and all kinds of different stuff. Excuse me. So yeah, would I draft Muck again? Absolutely. I just wish we could have used it more. Unfortunately, we never got to use it. But that's 100% not a reason to doubt Muck. I love Muck. It's my favorite poison-type Pokemon, 100%. I just wish we got to use it. So, for realsies this time, that is going to be the end of this video. I do hope you enjoyed. Stick around for more content from me. You might be seeing some new stuff soon. Probably will be seeing some new stuff soon. Of course, we still have our playthrough of Pokemon Blaze, which is starting to pick back up, I think. I just haven't had the motivation to record it lately, but I'll find something. I'll find it. So yes, that's going to be our wrap-up video for the GPSL. In case you guys didn't know, we finished 6-2, second place in the league, only to Resilient, your champion of the GPSL. And I'm very proud of 6-2. There's nothing wrong with silver. This is really the first league I ever competed in. Like, I had done this league with some local friends, but that was, honestly, it felt like me forcing them to do it. I don't think any of them really wanted to be a part of it. So I won that league, and I went undefeated in that league, but I felt like I had the unfair advantage a little bit. So this is the first league where I joined, and I felt vulnerable, and I'm very happy we went 6-2. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.